Welcome to the Carl Sterling Podcast, delivering conversations with experts and excellence in education.
All right. Really excited to be here with a very special guest who I met a couple of weeks ago at the URSA conference in Miami. And I want to thank you, everyone who's joining me here on the Zoom stream and also on Facebook. Thank you. Please welcome my special guest, Mauro Frota. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing very well, Carl. It is very exciting to be here with you. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Oh, my pleasure, man. You're the first person I came out of URSA saying, okay, he's the one, number one on the list. We need to talk with him because, so I was just going to tell people here, we were at the URSA conference in Miami Beach, whenever that was, like 2 weeks ago, late June 2022. Okay, so we go to a Fit Tech gathering. Yeah. That's also one of the coolest groups of people, the coolest group of people I've ever been around. So I got to meet people like you, and I got to meet you. So we started talking about what you do, you know, your experience as a coach and martial arts and mixed martial MMA and all this other stuff. And then you start playing videos of me because you found out what I do. Like, so you've got this company called BHOUT. Yeah. And I just want to talk about what you have there, because it's so cool. What you have, this whole system is beautiful. Because another thing I'm trying to do is really streamline and get data. Data is so important, and we have a lot of data we can record here in my clinic, but the moment your product's on the market, I'll be the first buyer because we need to get data with that bag. Tell us about it, man, and congratulations on yesterday's good news. Tell us about that too.
Thank you. So yesterday we got accepted in the Alpha program of the Web Summit. So close to home, sunny Lisbon, we'll be there showcasing the first boxing bag with a brain. That's what we are doing, you know. We want to be the kings of data in a boxing bag. Yeah. Everything you dream that can happen in a boxing bag, and some things that maybe we cannot, we will make it happen. And I can talk a little bit about the tech and the bag if you want.
Sure. Well, a lot of people who are on know me from, you know, one way or another. We've met or whatever, or we work together in some capacity. I work a lot with the neurological and movement disorders, particularly Parkinson's. But one of the things that I have found, which, you know, I'm going to get around real quickly and turn it back over to you, though, is we do a lot of different things with boxing. And the reason we do it is, you know, it might be the most cathartic thing we can do is to hit something, and then we feel good, a lot of us, most of the time. There's something primal about that, I'm pretty convinced. But also, we can use this to get blood and oxygen to the brain just by boxing, getting the heart rate elevated. We can also do different assigned movements or reactive training movements. I've got the mitts and you're hitting me and I'm swinging at you, or you're ducking and you're whatever, or I'm assigning which glove to hit and which hand through some code. That's all cool. We have a bag here that's kind of cool that we can measure a little bit of information with. But what I love about the BHOUT system, and I'd love to be able to maybe start with what kind of metrics are you able, and data are you able to gather from, I love how you put it, the boxing bag with a brain, what you have there, the BHOUT bag, what can we get out of this?
Yeah, so our system has an AI brain, and it has, you know, a lot of sensors tracking a lot of stuff. So I'll give you an example. We have, I'll start by this, Carl. The bag itself is not a regular bag, so it's not your bag that you can buy somewhere else. No, so the vision is that we wanted to transform the bag and make it look like you were hitting something biological. So in a sense, like you are hitting a person without having trouble with the police and so on. And we actually bring, you know, we bring pro athletes and athletes, MMA and others, and they experience the bag and they give us that feedback. And the reason that it has that feeling is because it is a multi-layered bag. It has a water core. We are mostly water in our body, and most of our water is in the organs, in the center. And then we have layers of foam, high and medium density, that actually mimic the density of connective tissue and muscle tissue. So that actually gives you a lifelike feel when you are hitting the bag. Then on the body of the bag, we have 3 sensors that are constantly measuring the power output. And then we have sensors on the scale of the bag that are constantly monitoring the weight of the bag, because the weight of the water actually changes the algorithm. So we wanted to level the playing field, also because we will be allowing in a very close future, I could be competing directly with you real time. And so I need to make sure that your bag has the same amount of water than mine, so that we are leveling the playing field and competing. Yeah, so that's all figured out. And then we said, but look, we need more data, more information, actually, because our long-term vision is actually to blend more and more fitness and gaming. And so I want you to actually be able to play a video game in a bag.
Yeah,
so in that
exactly.
Sense, the bag needs to know the impact it's receiving, but on the giving end, so the person actually hitting the bag, the bag needs to have a lot of information. He needs to know where it's been struck, what technique, the amount of times. So that was only possible with 3D computer vision. And so actually, so the bag has all of these systems integrated in the AI brain. So actually our AI is analyzing 40 frames per second. And so we know, everything that you are throwing at the bag, we know it. We know it.
That is
and actually, so in the close future, we are also starting to train the AI to recognize what is a perfect technique, how deviated you are from a perfect technique, and actually coach you to get to improve your technique, avoid injuries, and so on. Because with this explosion of home fitness came a lot of injuries, because people are actually training alone and at home, and we want to prevent that. We want to have a coach AI system, next to you 24/7, whenever you want to train, put on the gloves and strike the bag. That's the dream.
Man. That's really, really cool, because and I'm sorry here, I'm just monitoring a question that's come up here. We'll go through all these in a little bit here of what people are asking. But what I find really interesting, because I do a lot of coaching, let's say here, so I have 21, 22 years martial arts, karate, gojo-ryu karate. And, that's all fine and good. And so I can teach striking techniques. But it appears to me from some videos I've watched of the BHOUT bag with the brain that we can certainly get more accurate data, impact force, technique. Yeah. I didn't know you could measure technique on this. I think it's really interesting that you can determine on this bag, the bag will determine through AI where they got hit, how hard, and what technique.
Yeah, and how often.
And how often.
So, and we are very, very close to release. Actually, to you, Carl, as a therapist and working with neurological diseases, the app will actually give you the ability to create the training. So we are not imposing the training. We want to, this kind of revolution, power to the people. So the community will be creating training routines, not us. And so the first release of the app, it will allow you to create your routines and create the routines for your patients. So imagine that you want a specific patient to do something, you create it on the app, you just have to press play, do the training session, and then you collect all the data about that person, about that patient. So you actually know if it's improving or not. Imagine an MMA coach. Of course, our main demographics are, regular people, 90% of the people we have at this moment never tried striking or boxing or whatever, kickboxing before. That's our main audience. But of course, we are talking with MMA coaches, and they tell us, "What, this is incredible because we can actually program the training for our fighters, send them the training via the app. They can press play, do the training, and then we can monitor everything. We can prepare them for a fight and know that they are increasing, how hard they are hitting, how often, where, with which technique." So yeah.
That to me, that's just epically amazing. I've become a data junkie, is what it is.
Me too, my friend.
Because I mean, you can't measure improvement as much or as well if you don't have some good solid data.
Yeah.
How can we set a realistic goal if we don't know where we're at exactly? We can set a goal and probably make improvements, but if we know exactly where we're at, and then we can measure. So how did the idea, I'm just curious, because if you don't mind, maybe just share a little bit about your background. I'm sorry, I just thought I had another question here. You have MMA, martial arts, and how did the let's say, how did the idea come up to create this amazing bag?
Well, I actually started martial arts at 11, and actually with Okinawan Goju-ryu karate. So
Okay.
Not so often on the last couple of years, more focused on the company. But I started with karate, and then I moved on to first Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. I moved to Brazil, started training there. Then kickboxing, Muay Thai, wrestling, all the way into MMA. I always joke that if I was 19, 20 years old when MMA started, that's what I would be doing. But I'm not. I'm turning 45. The joints are not the same, and so yeah. But that's my passion. That's one of the things that drives me. And I actually had the vision. I wanted to bring. Martial arts are one of the most effective things you can do with your body. You work the transverse plane. You are always learning new routines, so your brain is always firing, learning new stuff. You keep the neuroplasticity. You're the expert. I'm just throwing words now, but you keep the brain healthy, the body healthy, and actually, I wanted to give that to mass audience, not just to people who train it for self-defense or to compete, but for everybody, for the stay-at-home mom, for the the dad that is stressed in their work, for the kids. And so that was the original idea, paired with a degree in sports sciences. I've been in the fitness industry for 22 years now.
Mm-hmm.
And actually the genesis of the idea came strangely, actually in a dream, the ones that you are at home sleeping. And
Beautiful.
I woke up that morning. Yeah.
You listen to your dream now, and that's really cool.
I never remember what I've dreamt. And actually that day was very strange because I remember where I was, who I was with. I remember the dream vividly. Wow. And I started pursuing that since that time, first with our own pocket money. So slowly, mine and my co-founders, until we got, the first raise, the pre-seed raise, and then everything accelerated. The engineering team came on board, the designers, the growth team. So, and everything took shape, really, really fast.
Man, I love that. I love it. You're going back to the karate or martial arts, for example. I did Goju-ryu. That's all I know is that particular type of martial art. And
that's what I did also. So
the katas alone, even the entry level, is you're doing cross patterns, right?
Yeah.
Crossing the midline in the body with the arms, hands a lot, but also you get into rotation. So like you say, transverse plane, we're working sagittal plane, we're working cross patterns with the feet too in a lot of the katas. So we know that the right and left hemisphere of the brains fire more effectively together when we cross the midline. So if they communicate better together, it certainly is not a bad thing. And then you got strikes and you're throwing punches and crossing midline and blocks, of course, if you're blocking. But I think that most of the people who come in to see me, for example, they're here for a reason. They want to slow disease progression, manage disease symptoms, move better, reduce fall risk, improve memory and cognition, and reaction time. So they also are fairly goal-driven people. And I can't wait to get one of these bags here because I want to measure stuff. I want to create a program, measure, and then reassess and reassess and reassess and just watch the progress, because this is going to inspire so many people here alone. So I'm curious, the feedback you're getting, I can only imagine that it's been really good and positive. This is a one-of-a-kind thing. I don't know of anything else like it out there. What's the feedback like for you?
No, we are having amazing feedback. We had an amazing time at URSA in Miami. I'm actually going back in October to meet some potential investors. So actually, we were featured in the Latin American forum at URSA, as a startup with a hybrid approach that can, because we have the club, we have the home connected fitness, we have we want to put this into hotels, into the companies. So where there's people, there can be a BHOUT bag, and if it's 5 minutes, 15 minutes, you could be enjoying yourself. So that's the goal and the idea. So we have this hybrid approach that was praised at URSA, and then our peers in the FITEC group actually, pick up the idea. Because we are working on the shadows for so long, waiting for the patents to be submitted, and now we can finally, I feel like I was almost exploding, trying, wanted to get into the world and explain what we are doing, but the lawyers were saying, "Oh, take it easy," because we still need to. We still need to submit the patents and so on. So that's been taken care of, and now we can discuss almost everything.
That's cool. And patents, that's not like a overnight process. That could take a year or two, and I mean, it's just like my son and I went through that on something we're working on right now. That is, this conversation is about you, but I can relate to the patent thing, provisional patent and the patent and the money and the time. Yeah. So you have to be careful what you say before that patent comes through. So I'm curious to know, we're in July right now, July 7th. Not to put pressure on you, it's not about that, but when do you anticipate this is going to be on the market for people to purchase?
So actually, hopefully next week, we will have our websites in the air, and actually we'll be accepting pre-orders, or you can submit to a waiting list to receive the first batch. Nice. So initially without initial payments, but in a few weeks we will convert them to paying waiting lists. Great. So I will be sure to send you a link. We are first targeting Europe, mainly Portugal, because we are here. UK and Germany as our main European markets, but our objective is to move into the United States, physically move. We are considering moving the company to Miami, actually, to be there. That's cool. That's the best market in the world, and if we got the support of people like you, and I'm sure we will do very well there.
I can, absolutely help you any way I can.
And so we are starting this, and we hope to start shipping on the first quarter of 2023. So that's the goal.
Well, I'm in line already. Seriously.
You'll be the first one. I'll send the website and the link.
I appreciate it so much. Miami was interesting. I've been to Miami before, just for work and teaching, and I really haven't spent any time just touring around or even walking around. But in Miami Beach, I did walk around for a while every day. It was a low pressure situation for me. I had quite a few meetings, but I had time. And when I found it, there are a lot of gyms.
Yeah.
I mean, and they call them, it's the sexy gym capital of the world because, well, I'll just let that go to people's imagination. But I mean, there's definitely an emphasis on fitness in Miami. It kind of reminds me of San Diego or Southern Cal.
Yeah,
I mean, they're
that should
definitely forward
Yeah.
thinking in the overall health and wellness and fitness departments. So I can see where that would be a really good market, good place to move to.
Yeah, we need to open. So the idea is to open a first club there. Parallel to that, start developing the connected fitness side. So shipping to people's homes, companies, hotels, and so on. But we want, a physical unit there. Our clubs, we have a very this first experience with the club, that it's being quite interesting. And if I may, Carl, we took a lot of lessons from the club and incorporated them in the tech of the bag. I'll give you some examples. So actually, in my master's degree, I started, looking at nudging. I started exercise psychology, and I started looking at nudging, starting to realize that there was nothing on the fitness space. The idea that you can change the environment and automatically you can influence behavior. That always triggers me, and so yeah. So our system, you have the high tech bag with all the data. We actually have another version of the tech, and you have music and light paired. We were inspired by video games. We studied deeply the effect of music on emotions, on stickiness, adherence, retention. Our music is very specific, that we couldn't find a provider, so we actually developed our own online radio stations, so that feeds the app and everything. Wow. So we play around with the volume, with the type of music, with the BPMs, and this is paired with specific colors of light, waves of light. And actually, what we have proven is that people go into flow state, very fast when they are in our clubs, and that then on the business side, they have fun. They lose track of time. But on the business side, the cool part is that we have a very long lifetime value compared, with the fitness industry. And so we took those lessons and we actually incorporated them in the bag. So the bag actually has 2 mood rings. And when you choose because when you are doing your training session, when you are building your strike routine, you can actually choose complexity and you can choose intensity. And you choose intensity by the BPMs of the music. And when you press play, everything goes into sync. The exercise you're seeing and that you need to follow along with the right music and with the right color and wave of light. So that pairs automatically, and we believe that we have proven that works, and we believe that this will also be a unique feature presented, in connected equipment ever.
Yeah.
We believe it's the first time. Yeah.
I was just looking because there's a book I have. I think I took it home and left it. It's called the Handbook of Neurological Handbook of Music Therapy. So it talks a lot about music therapy, but the reason I got it, and it's like the best textbook I've ever gotten, because my former life, I was a musician for 35 years, full-time drummer. Started when I was 14, and nice. I ended that full-time 13 years ago, ended completely 8.5 years ago. And that's fine. That's a different life. But I went to music school. I understand a lot about it, but I never understood so much about the therapeutic effects. Now, it can be used for so many different types of therapies. What I think, though, that you've done here, because we use music here, or sometimes just a metronome, for gait. We want a symmetrical stride at a velocity somebody can handle, but it's pushing them a little. Music can change a person's world emotionally, mentally, everything. And it can, so you have now this bag, an AI bag, a bag with a brain. You sync it up. I think it's total conceptual genius, actually, that you're press play and it syncs up the lights and everything else, BPMs and all that, beats per minute. For anyone who doesn't know what BPM is, beats per minute. And you can, you have the light, the sound, the music, and the whole thing. You're blending all these things, all these different sensory input is massive. stimulation.
That's nudging, you know. That's nudging.
Massive stimulation to the brain, which will change behavior, no doubt. Even if somebody can't keep a beat, because some people can't. What I find, even though as a drummer that drives me absolutely crazy, although not as much as it used to, I still see improvements with people who have absolutely no rhythm. Although there's a program called Taketina, I believe it's in Germany. You can learn to have rhythm. I didn't know that till 2 years ago.
That's interesting.
A friend in Germany told me about that, but that's so cool, man. I love that. I love. This is
actually
a lot
we have
of thought has gone into this. A lot of planning and thought.
You know,
this is so amazing.
Yeah. It's just this gaming and fitness industry colliding. You know, we are picking parts that make sense from each industry. You know, because the Achilles tendon in our industry, the fitness industry, is the dropout rate. You know, the churn rate. People are working out for 3 months and then they are dropping out.
By middle of March, the gyms are empty again.
Yeah.
So much for the resolutions. I've done that,
but it's very
I know
strange.
what it's like to do that. You have to establish you have to get into something you like to do that will engage you. And I think that's another key. We tell people here, there's certain things we won't do with certain people because we know they absolutely hate it. So we don't want them to go away. We want them to come in. There's enough things to choose from. And adding in the gaming aspect, it's been a real big thing here with so much of what we do. I like your word colliding, gaming and fitness colliding, because that helps people lose track of the time. It helps them stay
into flow state,
do something for longer, get better. That's nice.
We have some clients, some bouters as we call them, that they actually suffer physical repercussions if they don't train, and they tell us that like withdrawal symptoms, which is kind of cool. And actually it's July. Gyms should be people should be going, especially here in Europe and also in the United States, to the beach, and forgetting about training. But we are keeping our numbers, we have 9 classes a day, and we are keeping 70% average rate on those classes. So some overbooked, but and it's not dropping. So this proves the power of nudging,
That's really great. Did you say that was part of your master's? Like your paper?
Yeah, I started actually my teacher, one of my teachers, pointed me into that direction, into books like Made to Stick from the Heat Brothers and others, all the way into actionable gamification from Yukai Shu, and actually that became my main interest, learning how to help people change behaviors, because as exercise is not natural for our species. If you look at anthropological studies, natives actually sit as long as we do. So we have this concept that in the past people were exercising like crazy. They're not, except from hunting, being hunted, or some cultural activities. They actually sit. So one of the problems of the industry, if I may, is that there are a small group of people who actually have pleasure in doing physical activity, and those were the people that develop an entire industry. But the average client, but that's the point. But the average client is the opposite, and the average client actually is the majority, because the majority of people embedded in our DNA is not made to exercise that long. So we need to create ways and forms of making people move without them feeling they are moving. When you are playing a video game, you play for 4 or 5 hours and you get lost in it. You lose track of time. And so the idea was to bring these elements of gamification, human focused design, better explained, into the exercise, into the fitness, into a technological product. So we've been into it and studying all of the small details for quite some time. And like I said, when we got the funding, everything accelerated because we had all of this previous knowledge, we had all of these studies, and we knew exactly what we wanted to make. So I'll give you another example. So in the app, you can actually drink what we are calling a life potion. You know, the app also nudges you to change behavior. Investigation is showing that if you train, a few hours a week with high intensity training, actually, it will symbolize that you will gain 7 years of additional life over the years. And so we are actually saying this. So every time you do X amount of minutes of training per week, you are getting a shot of a life potion in the app. So
Life
you drink
extension.
yeah.
Sure.
Also, let me point this out. This is the first bag, I think, if I'm not mistaken, that one of the first things you do actually is that you do a physical assessment. And so the bag puts you in a level. So 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4 levels of physical fitness, and it actually nudges you to every few sessions. It tells you, look, you are getting stronger. Time to do another physical assessment. Go to the next level. So the bag is always, all of the system is nudging you to be healthier, and it's every time you prove you are healthier, you get more of our token. So we have a token named Jab. So we are actually rewarding you for being healthy,
That's really cool.
Yeah, we've designed this in layers, I've been talking about this for over 20 years in the fitness industry, writing about this. And actually we got to build a product that has all of these cool layers that are actually nudging you, transforming your behavior step by step.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Man, I love this. It just brings to mind a couple of things. Number one, how I want to make sure I remember both of these things. I'll start with the one I just thought of. Is my son is an example. He and I we're both driven by awards. Now, I don't need to flaunt it to the public. I don't even care. For example, there's an app that's a competitor to Audible, right? And we both use that app to read, if you will, audiobooks. Because if they're on there, I mean, basically it's free. We're not cheap, but why buy it if you don't have to? So anyways, and then you download it and it's yours. But you pay a monthly fee. But the only reason he and I keep that app, besides, well, their library isn't the greatest, but it's pretty good. When you finish a book, you get a little trophy. It's
a badge.
So ridiculous. But we get a trophy. So then after so many trophies, we get like a bigger trophy and an award and this and that. I have from this smart bottle that somebody gave me at the Hydrate Spark. I have my virtual background on, so it's really hard to see. But if I take a drink of this thing, I'm going to show you. I'm not sure if it's going to work with without being on an actual hard platform, but you'll see the bottom light up.
It's black, man. We could see it.
It might light up, it might not light up. But anyways, what happens is this bottom will light up after you take a drink, and it measures and sends to the app. Yeah, it's not on a stable surface. And, I drink plenty of water, but we did this because we wanted to see, how it works. And now I have people who want, well, now it's lighting up.
That's gamification, man.
Yeah, so it's cool because if you don't take a drink for like 20 minutes, it's going to start beep or lighting up at you to remind you, come on, take a drink. Because the average age of who I work with here, person I work with, is 81 years old. And I'd say about a quarter of them get dehydrated. Some get a UTI. It's almost like they got dementia overnight, even though they didn't, and they end up in the hospital. So it's all lack of hydration. So, but I actually like the little trophies I get when I hit my 120 ounce goal every day. It's ridiculous. Another thing too is my son and I are doing a Spartan race 2 days from now in Palmerton, Pennsylvania. It's about 7 miles, 25, 30 obstacles. I'll live to tell about it. He's the elite mode. I'm in the 61-year-old category. I just want to finish. But what's really cool, what I'm looking forward to more than anything, and I don't mean to get off track because I'll bring this back around to talk about what you just mentioned, and what you have is the medal. I'm going to get a medal when I cross the finish line, and they have the best looking medals. All that, drive 4 hours away, kill myself training for a few months to get a medal. But you know what? That drives me, and I think that the lesson being, whether it's the bottle that lights up, it's the trophy on the book we just finished reading, which gives you no monetary reward, nothing other than a little trophy you can see. And that you have tokens. And a lot of people are driven by these little rewards. No, I want that token. I got to do 90 more seconds, or however it works. This is really, really great, man.
We are actually,
so much thought and planning into this. It's the most impressive thing I've heard of in a long, long time.
But you know, Carl, sometimes the external reward system is actually the easiest one to assemble in an app or so on. The tricky part is to put the external reward and the intrinsic rewards, the enjoyment of the training and so on, at the same level. Because if you build a feature, just for extrinsic rewards, that might work with some people, but the majority won't like it. So you need actually to it's a science, and an art to pair intrinsic and extrinsic rewards to actually nudge and influence behavior. You need the tokens, you need the badges, you need the life potion, but you also need the nudging and the light and the music and the ability to create your own training, because that gives you ownership, or to build your avatar. You will be able to build your avatar in the app. You can get your tokens, you can upgrade your so that will give you a sense of ownership on the bag. You don't use your name, you use a cool war name, a Bouter name. It's not Carl playing with the bag, because actually people transform themselves, and then they create alter egos, and you are creating. It's actually like a game. You are playing a video game in a bag. That's the vision and the goal.
This is really in my opinion, some very serious forward thinking, which is I commend you for all you've got into this, what you're doing, conceptually, idea wise, and then of course actually creating the product. Interesting, because intrinsic can be very difficult. Just real quickly, in some of Parkinson's and some other neurological disorders, MSA and Parkinsonisms and this and that, there's a lack of dopamine occurring in the brain. And dopamine isn't just a neurochemical or transmitter that tells your body what to do from your brain through the nervous systems to make the movement. It's also a driver. Dopamine, as they say in the book called The Molecule of More, which is a really interesting book, it leads to addictions, it leads to goals, it leads to the degree, the master's, the PhD, doing the marathon, finishing the Spartan. Dopamine is that driver, and when we have a lack of dopamine, there are people, often I see this, where they're kind of like a couch potato. They don't want to do anything because they have the lack of dopamine, lack of drive, lack of will, lack of intrinsic, like, well, what am I going to, I don't want to do anything. But finding the thing that will pull them off the couch and engage them, well, I know for a lot of people, BHOUT that's going to be a thing. And this will keep them coming back for more. That's why you're 70%. You're 70% engagement, right? Retention. That's really high.
Yeah. No, that's daily occupation. So imagine in 9 classes a day, 10. So we are almost all of them are full. Wow. So yeah, that's so that you have an idea. We have a very small club. It's 200 square meters, so that's around 2,000 square feet. Mm-hmm. And we have close to 500 active customers in such a small club. Wow. So actually, we are starting to a very aggressive, development plan to open more clubs. Clients are demanding more clubs, which is kind of cool.
Bravo.
We did a public voting, and in 10 days we had like 2,200 individual votes. People wanting, to vote, because we try to involve the community in everything. And so we said, look, we are not going to choose the location of our next club. Let the community vote on it. And we actually had 2,200 individual votes in 10 days about the new locations. Wow. Yeah, and that's what we want to bring into Miami first, and then to LA and to other cities as well.
Gee, that's another fantastic idea. Let them tell you where to put it. Love that.
Yeah, we try to involve.
Europe is generally, in my experience, and I've been to Europe many times, all over, working and teaching. From the first time I got there years ago, actually, I was really intimidated, because the other thing too is the personal trainers in Europe, the physios, are generally miles ahead of those here. Not to say there are great ones here. Okay, just put that out there. I don't mean to disparage anyone. Yet the general level of knowledge about movement, biomechanics, everything, so much higher in Europe. So, and I think that the engagement of in people doing fitness, I have no data, I'm just guessing from what I see, is that that's higher too, generally speaking. So I see a more forward-thinking society in general when it comes to nutrition, health, wellness. You're ahead of us, and so we need you here. So I'm glad you're coming here, man. I might be the first person to apply for a job in Miami, because we're looking to, I'm looking to move down there anyways to Florida. So
will be a pleasure to have you with us.
I get out. When you have an application, let me know. So if anyone, real quick before we end, if anyone on Facebook has any questions, please put them in the comments, and I've been looking here. Anyone here in Zoom, if you have anything you want answered, just let us know. And I appreciate so much what you're doing, what you're putting out there, and especially I appreciate your time today, Mauro, a lot.
Thank you, my friend. It's a pleasure. I love talking about what we are developing. I like talking with you since the first moment. I can see that we think alike, which is cool. So let's send you that link. Let's move into the United States.
Absolutely. I'm just one guy. I have a following of sorts, and trust me, I'm small time when it comes to that, but at the same time, there are people who they watch what we do, and if I can push any business your way, man, it's what I'm going to do. The other thing too is I'm really glad I went to that Fit Tech gathering, because that was a really incredible group of people, and I can't remember how we met exactly, but I think that Paul Pease may have taken me to you and said, you need to meet this man. I talked with Paul yesterday morning. We were talking yesterday
something
morning,
like that.
And I said, Paul, man, thank you, because I've never been anywhere where anybody took me around and said, you need to meet this person and that person. So you and I met, and I'm grateful to know you and love what you're doing, man. It's fantastic.
Yeah. Actually, and I think we were in the group that won that prize, no?
Oh,
were you also?
Yeah. That's right. We were. I've got my prize out there, the ab roller.
Yeah. So that was also, and as actually a lot of cool people in that group, the winners group. That was also
it
cool.
was great. I finally made it into a winners group. Yay. No, that was a great gathering. Well, listen, if you don't mind, first of all, we're going to say goodbye in a second, but I want, if you don't mind, Mauro, just stay with me for like 2 minutes afterwards. And
I will, yeah, for sure.
Oh, yes. Oh, good. I see Salvador. You must know Salvador Barros.
He's our head of growth.
All right. He said, if people are interested in reaching out, knowing when our website is live, please send. I'm glad you said that, because I was just about to say to Mauro, Salvador, that somehow at least you and I will communicate, and I'll post, but let us know somehow when the website's live. But for those who are wondering here, hello, HELLO at BHOUT BHOUT.com, BHOUT.com, hello@BHOUT.com. And then I imagine that'll go on a list. And then when it goes live, you get an email. And that'd be really cool because I think we want to build up your pre-orders for you too.
Thank you so much, man.
Yeah. And Pedro, do you know Pedro Barata?
He's our co-founder.
Ah,
All of the team is listening.
bravo, Pedro and Salvador. You're welcome for the opportunity, and we should talk again once you're live, once it's out, once you're here. Let's say in Miami, let's talk again. Mauro, thanks, my friend. Thanks so much for stay on with me for a minute when we say goodbye. Thank you, Pedro, Salvador, and everybody who's watching. Laura, Kathy. Oh, so many people. Gabriel. Oh, Sylvia Gabriel in Monterrey, Mexico. Hola, Sylvia. I owe you. Necesito llamarte pronto. Okay. Thanks, everyone. Have a fantastic day. I hope you enjoyed it. I know I learned a lot, and I'm highly inspired right now. Okay.
You and
See
me
you later,
both, my
folks.
friend.
Thanks
Thank
again,
you so much.
Mauro.
Bye-bye.